Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, we'll just give it maybe a few more seconds, see if we've got anybody else joining. I think maybe we could just start with the housekeeping so that if anybody still joins, we can let them in. Yeah, so just very warm welcome from my side. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just a bit of housekeeping. And just introduction. So we've got Handru, who's just organizing all of that. He's in the head of our marketing side. And Menadia, as most of you will know, she's head of our personal tax. So I've got these two. Menadia will be fact checking me, making sure I don't say anything that's not correct. So great to have you guys on board as well. Yeah, 100, do you have anything to say before we can start? Or
Yes, so to start off, thank you so much for taking your time to spend with us. And then please note that during the meeting, you will be muted and your cameras will be turned off. But if you have any questions throughout the meeting, you're more than welcome to just raise your hand and we will then address your question. You'll see in the Q&A chat, you're also able to pop your questions in there, and then we will answer them from there. And then I'm going to hand back over to Jacques.
awesome. Cool. Thank you, Andrew. So what I want to do is I'm going to run through this as quickly as possible because I don't know. I think majority of the people are buy-to-let landlords, if not everybody. So this is what this one will be covering most. If you're not, if there's something else, slightly different income sources, then it should be valuable for you as well. I'm also going to, yeah, so there's a few things at the end that I just want to show you what we've added onto TaxDash and what we're doing with that as well. So I'm going to run through this. There's a Q&A. So Q&A, they will see it at the top of their screen, right, Andrew, or where will that be?
Yeah, it's at the right-hand
Yeah.
side. You'll
Yeah,
be able
on
to
the
see it.
right-hand side, just if you go through, I'm going to run through it, but ask the questions. When Aldia will review that, we will run through that as much as possible. The whole idea about this is to help people answer questions. This is a huge change, huge. I can see the amount of time that we're spending on this, trying to understand it, and things are still changing. HMRC just changed the requirements for foreign rental income. How do we need to declare it? And we still had to build in a lot of changes. So there's still a lot of changes happening in the back end. We also trying to get to grips with it. So yeah, and we want to use these webinars as an effective way to communicate and just educate you guys with what we know and answer as many questions as possible. Right, so let's start. Okay, so Making Tax Digital is going live from the 6th of April. So we're live now. We've gone through that bit. Henry's just updated us. So what we'll be covering today, just what is Making Tax Digital, who is affected, are you affected, what do you need to submit, what counts as income, common questions and pitfalls, how TaxDash makes it simple, and our support and options and pricing. And then on top of that, I quickly want to show you a few cool things that we're adding onto TaxDash that might be very useful for you guys to know about that. So, right. Okay, what is Making Tax Digital? So let's go before we did a self-assessment tax return once a year, needed to be done by the 31st of January every year. They say, they say 11.5 million people had to do tax returns. About 4.5 million of those people did their tax returns in January. So even though we've got 9 or 10 months after the personal tax year in, 50% of people did their tax returns in January, and that's obviously going to change now. That's the big change. The tax return stays the same, but now what we need to do additionally is you need to do a quarterly return, which is a summary of your income and expenses. It's not a complete tax return. It's a summary of your income and expenses per quarter, and then you need to still do your normal tax return or final declaration, that what they've been referring to right at the end of January, as usual. The big thing is obviously you can't do these things on HMRC directly anymore. You have to do that. You have to use software like TaxDash to file these returns to HMRC. Right. So, just an interesting stat. How many people will be affected by it? So they do it in different stages. and it's 864,000 people that's now affected, that will need to do Making Tax Digital now. Then there's another a million people from April 2027, and then another 975,000 people from April 2028. So overall, about 3 million people that will be affected. We think they're going to continue with this and roll it out to other income sources eventually as well. So I think everybody will be doing this eventually. So are you affected? So the people that's affected now that needs to do Making Tax Digital now are sole traders. If you earn more than £50,000 income from a sole trader, or £50,000 from buy-to-let income, or combined. What that means, if you earn £25,000 from sole trader and 30,000 from buy-to-let income, the two combined is more than 50k, then you also need to comply or start making tax digital returns. So in the bottom here, you can see the thresholds. That's why there's like 1 million people affected now, another million next year, and 1 million after, is because the threshold is now 50,000. It reduces to 30,000 next year, and then it goes to 20,000 the year after. That's why we've got 1 million people, 864, whatever that number was, 864,000 people now, million next year, and then about 975,000 people from April 2028 as well. Cool. Remember, questions and answers. If you've got any questions, please put those in for us so we can check it at the end. I'm just running through this as quickly as possible. So what is a quarterly return looking like? You've got quarter one, which started on the 6th of April. It finishes on the 5th of July. And that, so it will your summary of income and expenses for that period, 6th of April till 5th of July, and that needs to be submitted by the 7th of August. So you've got a bit of a month and a few days to submit the return, get everything ready. So we reckon it's going to be crazy busy in that July to get it, because there's still a lot of people that need to register and get everything ready. So at least you guys are looking at this and making sure you're getting your ducks in a row, because July, I reckon, is going to be crazy. The next quarter is going to be July till 5th of October, due by 7th of November. Third quarter, 6th of October till 5th of Jan 2027, due by 7th of Feb. And the last quarter for this tax year, 6th of Jan till 5th of April 2027, due the 7th of May. Now just remember, the tax year that's just finished, the 25-26 tax year that finished on the 5th of April, everything stays the same for that year. You still need to do your normal tax return for this year. This is just going forward. You'll need to do these quarterly returns, but pretty much by the 7th of May 2027, you would have reported on all your self-employed and Making Tax Digital income and expenses for that year. And then you need to do your final declaration, in which you need to declare this income plus any other income. If you've got dividends, interest, employment share income, or whatever other income, salary income, you need to include that to submit your normal tax return. And that final tax return is still due by 31st of January 2028. I'm hoping that with this process now, you'll have everything ready by 7th of May, that we can do the returns quicker. So get that number from 4.5 million people that goes into January, and then trying to look for expenses and stuff of what's happened over a year ago, to just getting more organized. So I know this is probably not what you guys want to hear, but doing these things more real time and recording your transactions, it's going to save you time. It's just how it works. And everybody can start to enjoy January and not have the crazy rush, right? So that is hopefully what's going to happen. So what income sources? So you've got self-employed and buy-to-let income, but we like to split the foreign rental income out as a separate category as well, because it is quite different it is slightly different how we treat that one. So you've got your self-employed income. It's important to know it's not profits. It's not income less expenses. It's what you bill or received from your clients. UK rental income, same thing. It's the gross income. It's the income before estate agent fees or anything else is deducted. That total amount that you've received that you need to use to calculate whether you've gone over the 50k or not. And then foreign rental income, the same. If you've got properties in other countries, and if you're a tax resident in the UK, you need to declare your worldwide income. So if you've got rental income in other countries, you need to also, if it's more than £50,000 a year, then you need to declare that to start filing your making tax digital returns. Cool. Then next, common questions and pitfalls, things that we've seen so far that we can just very quickly cover. So firstly, this is a very interesting one that we've realized. There's obviously a lot of software solutions out there, but the key thing that we've picked up, a lot of people have got rental income and self-employed income with not a lot of transactions, and they don't have a separate bank account that they use for that income. So a lot of it is muddled up and all in one bank account where all the personal transactions and these transactions go into. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because there's a lot of automation tools that you can use to record these transactions. But if you've got personal and business transactions, business meaning self-employed and buy-to-let income, all together, it makes it, with automation and bank feeds, it may take longer for certain software solutions, not only to get to know the software, but then to split out all personal versus business. So if it's possible, it's always good practice to open up a separate bank account for your buy-to-let income and your self-employed income, and just put it through a separate. That's in any case a very good, I think, a very good thing to have, because if you ever get an audit for one of those income streams, you can just give that bank statement. If they ask you a bank statement, you can give that bank statement. Here's my buy-to-let income bank statement. And if you're then good about how you are spending your money, making sure you're spending, this is expense related to my buy-to-let income, you pay it from that bank account, automatically you're making your admin and that easier, because that bank statement becomes an audit trail of your transactions. It's still fine if you incur the odd one through the personal account. You just need to remember to include those. But for audit purposes, just basic, yeah, that's just a very good tip to split these things out. But a lot of people don't want to open up separate accounts, and this is where we've now seen TaxDash quite being interesting, because we've got a lot of clients who's got very little transactions. They've got property income, very few transactions. So they just want a solution where they almost can capture it. Some of our clients said to us that we've had talks with so far, they said, I don't want to learn all these software solutions. It's complicated. It's going to take time. They've got it on Excel. They've got their few things. They've 10 transactions a month. They just want to slot it in. So TaxDash, you can already do it, where you can just capture the transactions, the date, the description, and the amount. Because with making tax digital is we need the detailed breakdown of the transactions. You need to have that digital footprint of the totals that you've submit to HMRC. But then also we are working with Xero. If you've got separate bank accounts and if you've got more transactions and you want to attach receipts to transactions, then we will recommend Xero, because the automation, and at the end of the day, think about your own time as well. Yes, you'll pay a license fee for some of these things, but instead of you sitting 5 hours to try and reconcile these things and automate, it could save you a lot of time by having the automation using a advanced software tool like Xero to automate and attach receipts to transactions. Some people have asked, can we just submit a null return for the first year? Not recommended. The whole idea about it, there's no penalties for the first year. You'll see there on the sixth question there. There's no penalties, but the whole idea about this is to practice and get into a good rhythm. So do it properly. Don't submit null returns. We won't we won't in any case allow that. Just make sure it's accurate. It's not going to be, nobody's going to be locked up if it's not done correctly, but just try and get into a rhythm of doing it accurately. I'm still convinced it's better that people look at these numbers every quarterly. Like, it's a buy-to-let business, self-employed, very few transactions. Look at your transactions. Set yourself a little bit of a goal for the next 3 months. It's a business, have a look at these things. It is just worthwhile to keep an eye on it. Set yourself goals. What else can I do I know it's more difficult. It seems more difficult with the buy-to-let market, but if you've got one property, tenants, everything is in there. I know it's not maybe that relevant, but compared to a self-employed business who's got more transactions, who's got more different clients, that you maybe want to set some goals. Have a look. An example of this is what we've picked up lately is you can look at your expenses, and people are signing up for software solutions, and a lot of that they don't use anymore. So instead of waiting till January to like review your transactions, and then they add it up and they say, oh, I'm still paying for the software. I thought I canceled this. You know, if you do these things every quarter, maybe there are things you can cancel that you don't need. Critically look at your business, and not critically, but also setting goals for the next quarter. So do I still need to do a self-assessment? I briefly touched that. Yes, you still need to do that. That process is still normal. What about payments? We get a lot of questions about that. Everything else stays the same. The payments, when you need to pay it, the payments on account, everything else stays the same. You don't need to make quarterly payments to HMRC. So nothing else changes with that. Yes, if your income is below the threshold, you just need to keep an eye on it. Yeah, and Meryl Diaz mentioned before, if you do register it, then you are in the scheme for 3 years. Then you are signed up for 3 years, right, Meryl Diaz? I mean, there is a process where you can exit, but only when you close the business, right?
Yes, so when you close your self-employed business or you sell your property, then you can exit immediately. But in a case where you fall below the threshold for that year, you need to remain below the threshold for 3 consecutive years
Okay.
for you to exit MTD. So
Okay.
it's good that you get in touch if you have questions regarding exiting whenever that happens.
Cool. Awesome. Next one. Okay. How TaxDash makes this simple. So I think majority of you are using TaxDash in any case. As you know, you've recorded your rental income, self-employed income in TaxDash, and a lot of people have just entered the totals, where you are now going to be just entering the. If you go into TaxDash now, you'll see the Making Tax Digital is there, but you won't see the quarterly return that you can submit. You can only see you can just go into the property module and start capturing your transactions for every month. Once the first quarter is finished, then you'll see the quarterly return, and that we will just take those transactions and summarize it, and then to do your quarterly return. We are now working on doing CSV imports into Excel. So if you've got all your transactions in, because a lot of people have been using Excel. So if you use Excel, we're building it now that you can just bulk import your Excel instead of like capturing every single transaction, because there's a lot of people asking for that. So we are building it. We're busy working with that. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to roll out a few things like that. Yes, and then what we will do is we will review everything. You approve it, we submit it to HMRC. Pretty much the same process as what we do with tax returns. We're going to follow that exact same process. Cool. Okay, fees. So we've had a lot of thinking about this, because this is not like VAT returns or anything else that's been done before. This is very new, and it's a huge change for, it's a big change. And it's very difficult for us to gauge how much support is going to be needed. And also, us as an accounting company, we can't go and employ, there's going to be a lot of support needed. We reckon in the next, year at least, I think, definitely in the next 6 months. And we can't just go and employ a lot of people, and then what do we do after 6 months if there's, so I think there's a lot of education that's going to be needed to just educate clients as well as us and our team. We're spending a lot of time, and I think this webinar is clearly there to just help you guys navigate this and try and understand what is happening here. Once we get to know with this, I don't think it's going to be painful, but it's just a huge change. Now, pricing, we were even thinking to make TaxDash a free version to submit this, to submit these returns free, but there will be support included. There will be support. There's going to be a lot of questions, and we can't gauge at this stage how much that is going to be. So we're going to do 2 services. We're going to do the one where you capture the information on TaxDash, or Xero. We'll, if you've got a lot of transactions, we'll do it on Xero as well. And then we'll review and submit. That's if you've captured everything. So there's slightly different scenarios. Some clients are VAT registered, where there's more bookkeeping and that sort of stuff involved as well. So, but I'm talking if you a construction, or if you've got a buy-to-let landlord, you've got 10 transactions a month, you capture it into TaxDash. We will help you categorize, and I want to call that admin and not bookkeeping, because a lot of people get confused with bookkeeping. This is not bookkeeping, it's categorizing and grouping your transactions, capturing it on TaxDash. We will check it for you, make sure it's all looking okay, and you submit. And that's the first fee. So that's £270, £270 per year. That's if you capture it, we review and submit it. If there's adjustments, we will communicate that with you. There will be support how to lock transactions and that sort of stuff. We want to do as much as possible with that to help you navigate around TaxDash. That is then also the fee to do your tax return, to declare this income in your tax return. So if you've only got buy-to-let income, then that will be your fee to do your tax return and do the quarterly submissions. And just be clear, if you've got other income sources to include in your final tax return, like dividends, interest, employment share income, then there's going to be an extra fee just for those extra income sources. And then we're going to also offer the fully managed service, where you send us your bank statements, receipts, and all of that, and we'll process it, capture it for you, and then capture it for you and onto TaxDash, where you can review it and submit it. These pricing fees, the pricing models are for if you've got less than 25 transactions a month. So that's where we're going to start with. I'll be honest with you, the one that we want people to go for is the self-managed one as much as possible. And we will want to educate and help clients get to that as best as possible. If we can I believe that if we spend more time educating our clients how to group things, if we get a bunch of bank statements and transactions, we got to go and capture that. We will still need to get in touch with you. So now we get the transaction. We still need to ask you, what is this for? So your work's still there. So I believe the smart option is to go for option one, self-manage with review. And we just got to work together to find the best way to make it as simple and as easy for you guys to record your transactions, give it to us, and submit it. Option two, we'll look after that, but see how it goes. We send us all the documents, we process it, we go back to you, ask you all the questions, we come back to you, then we summarize the final one and go back. A lot more extra steps. And that one's going to take a lot more support, and it's difficult for us to recruit. And because I don't know how much support is going to be needed for that. So we really want to push for the self-managed one. That's really what we want our clients. Less fees for clients, and we're going to automate as much as possible. The latest technology now available, we're working on already, where you can take photos of like your estate agent statement, and you can read it and capture that for you in TaxDash. And then you just need to go and put in the extra things. These things are not available yet, but we're going to build in as much as possible to simplify it in TaxDash. So if there's more transactions, we need to provide you with a quote. It depends on which service you want, but that's very important. The two different types. You do the recording of the transactions, we review, or we do everything for you. Send us the bank statements and the receipts. So cool. So that's just finishing points. What I would briefly want to touch base on. Do we have any questions at this stage?
Yes, we have. Sorry, Meralda.
No, you can go.
Don't fight about this now.
We have one from when you say self-employed income of £50,000, does that include dividends from your own business?
No. So if you've got a limited company, you're not a sole trader, self-employed. The limited company is not included in that. It's when you are trading in your personal name. So it's when you are invoicing clients and you don't have a limited company. You're not earning dividends. That's a different structure. So when you've got a limited company, that's Making Tax Digital is not relevant to that. It's when you are trading in me as Jacques Steenkamp and I'm billing a client and raising an invoice as Jacques Steenkamp. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. All good. Okay. I want to quickly show you guys something on things that we've added onto TaxDash. That we've been working on this for quite some time. Can you guys see my screen? Yep. Okay, cool. So something we've been working on, everything's geared towards making things efficient for our clients. So as you all know, or everybody that's using TaxDash, you know how you go in to do your tax returns. We've made this live as well now. So it's our knowledge base. So every time we get a question, we are getting our seniors to really write up a proper answer. And we've in the back end been building these things. So now we've made it live to clients so that when they get questions, so that we don't repeat answer the same stuff, that you've got access to this. A key thing here is that when you Google, you get answers, but the advice is different if you're employed, self-employed, or buy-to-let landlord. So if you now go into individual buy-to-let, then that is relevant, and you can say, what expenses can I claim? So this bot just works on our knowledge base, and it will go and summarize what you can claim for that, and it will summarize it, and it will also give you links to our articles. So, and there's a lot about property in here: pre-trading expenses, stamp duty, what you can claim, capital gains tax. There's really a lot of stuff about property. We do have a lot of clients, property clients. So very useful. So, and also, if you don't get the right answer, you'll get the thumbs up and thumbs down. So what we now as a team wanting to do, as we get questions in that it's not already, or it's very important that you mark this and say, okay, it answered my question or it didn't, because we then will go in and say, okay, we don't have a knowledge base article to properly answer this, write it up as quickly as possible. And you can just imagine, this is costing us 0.0 of a penny to run this. Whereas if you ask an accountant, these things will be thoroughly been reviewed and to give you a proper all-round answer. It's not tax advice often, it's more telling you everything that you need to consider, but definitely for expenses. So the more questions you ask here, the quicker there's a whole process, but we've got a lot of stuff that we want to publish here. But we've got our own bot because we want to secure the data here. Okay, cool. Then let's just quickly go back. I think I can go back here. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but we've also built some really good calculators to help people understand. So you can put in the relevant tax year. This is just now my test case. So this is a copy of your SA 302. People are finding this very useful. So you can put in your income here. It's a calculator. You can just see how your taxes calculator. You can put in salary if you had salary income. If you then got, let's say you've got some buy-to-let income. This is not no rental income, but let's say you've got 25,000 rental income. It will automatically claim the trading allowance. But let's say you've got £4,000 expenses. You click save. So you enter the income on the left here, and it will spit out your calculation on the right. And if you click on these little arrows pointing up, it will tell you what income is taxed in which bracket. So our programmer has done an amazing job is to summarize all of this on one page. I mean, absolutely. I think it's fantastic what they've done. And we've got a little bot here, which we need to get a name for. This is not to give tax advice, but you can ask questions about your calculation. It's just very good to help you understand your calculation. So this would have taken a human a long time to do. So it's a safe space that you can come and have a look at your calculation. How does this work? And you can see, yeah, it's so yeah, there you can see it describes like what income brackets on that side, and you can use it as an informative tool. This actually works independently. I was amazed. Like we put in our own tables and we use the large language model to do the calculations. So these two are actually independently run. So I always just check that it does reconcile that balance back to that one. But it's amazing, like just helping you to understand basic things like that. It is still basic. There might be some questions. As soon as you ask it more complicated, it will it won't answer those things. But the calculator is also very good if you want to see if I make a pension contribution, how does my tax change? Very useful just to see real life examples. I'm running out of time here. Any more? Did we have any more questions there? Anybody? Do we? Do you quickly want to go through it?
Yes, we do. Meraldia, do you or no? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we have one from presumably workplace pensions will be included as income.
Do we? I don't know, Melody, like workplace pensions. What do you mean? Like just the extra income source to declare on your tax return?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for MTD, you will only focus on your property and
Yes.
self-employed. And when it
Yep.
comes to final declaration, you
Yep.
will add workplace
Yep.
pension.
You'll still declare all your other income sources. Yeah. When you do this declaration at the end.
Yep.
Okay. And then we have another one from
Yep.
if I am employed over £50,000 with one buy-to-let, do I still have to fill in quarterly returns?
If you're employed, but is your income from your buy-to-let more than 50,000? That's the question. So if your salary is 60,000 and your buy-to-let income, you only got buy-to-let income of 20,000, you don't need to register for Making Tax Digital yet. So you ignore salary, you ignore dividends, you ignore other income sources. You look at self-employed, buy-to-let income now. That's it. And combined, because a lot of people have got it combined. Does that, if I didn't answer your question, just have a go again at it, please. Yeah, if there's any more questions, I'll answer. We want to stick these to half an hour. I know I'm going very fast through these things, but I'm trying to, it's difficult to gauge what everybody's knowing. If you've got questions, send it to us. We want to answer it in these webinars because, and if you are Andrew, how do they send us questions if they think about it over the weekend, as you know, as you do when you're having a barbecue and you think about Making Tax Digital? How do they send us questions?
So the best would be to the info@taxdash.co.uk email address. We reply very quickly on that email. And then also, Jacques, if I can just add, if there's anything else you'd like to know about MTD or about TaxDash, we will be hosting lots of webinars in the coming weeks and coming months. You're also more than welcome to send us suggestions if there's anything you'd like to know.
Tell us what you've got your questions about. I want to direct this because everybody's time is precious. This is why we're running through it, trying to do it in half an hour. Send your questions. What do you need help with? We're going to try and help people with categorizing their income and expenses. That's a key thing that I think, and I'm happy to sit here and just educate and help with that to get it. Because if the client can if you guys can reconcile that for us in the right categories, this job is going to be amazingly easier for everyone, less painful. Yep.
Yeah, we have one last question from how do we register for Making Tax Digital, or is it automatic?
Yeah.
So it's not automatic. We will register all clients that's signing up with us. All our current clients will be in contact soon to check if you want to sign up on one of the packages, and then we'll complete the sign up process for you. But it's not automatic.
Yeah, you have to go through that process. All good? I'm 4 minutes over. I do apologize. But any more questions? All good? Please let us know. Also, we've got a Facebook page. We're going to post on there regularly all the updates we're doing. We're super excited about all the stuff that we're rolling out on TaxDash. We're going to just post all the features there. So do like our Facebook page if you want to just see what's going on to try and, yeah, we are excited. We're going to use a lot, try and do a lot on user experience in TaxDash to make it easier. And the technology is definitely helping with that. But I'm going to shut up now. I've been talking too much. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And then, yeah, have a great evening.